Refugees and migrants feel increasingly unwelcome in Germany. That's according to a new study from the German Institute for Economic Research. The report found that while 84% of migrants felt welcome in 2017, just 65% felt that way in 2023. It comes as Germany marks 10 years since Angela Merkel welcomed millions of refugees fleeing conflict with her now famous motto, "Wir schaffen das," or we can do it.
This was Germany back in 2015. Open arms and open hearts for refugees. Now, closed doors and rising tensions. In 2015, then Chancellor Angela Merkel said,
Wir haben so vieles geschafft, wir schaffen das.
"We can do it." Many in Germany agreed. More people applied for political asylum that year than ever before. Most came from Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Some Germans feel overwhelmed, others afraid, or even hostile.
We've been dealing with refugees for 10 years. That's enough.
Support for the far right has surged. 1 in 5 Germans voted for the Alternative for Germany Party, or AfD. Violent crimes linked to refugees have raised tensions and the political stakes. And yet, Germany has an acute labor shortage and needs migration to keep its economy going. Today, around 3.5 million refugees live in Germany. Many have built new lives here. The majority of those who arrived in 2015 have found work, like this family that fled war-torn Syria and have become German citizens. The dream for almost all refugees, according to recent studies.
We've done everything that we should have done. And because of that, we made it.
But some who work closely with refugee communities say that much more needs to be done to integrate them and to reduce tensions within local communities. This retired policeman works to bridge gaps between a refugee housing center and the nearby town.
I think some politicians are not aware of what needs to be done on the ground.
Former Chancellor Merkel isn't expressing any regrets.
The fact that I did this has polarised people, has led them to join the AfD, which I don't agree with, but they have done so. And the AfD has certainly become stronger as a result. But is that a reason for me not to make a decision that I think is important, that I think is right, that I thought was reasonable at the time, that I thought was humane?
Germany is still sorting out the consequences of that decision at the political level and across society.
Our chief political editor, Michaela Küfner, is in the studio with me to discuss this momentous decision for Germany. Michaela, thanks for coming in. You heard it there. It's now famous. Wir schaffen das. We can do it. Did we?
We did because we had to, but how much of a success it is, we just heard Angela Merkel give her assessment, and she said that in many ways Germany has made it, that her promise did come true. If you ask her, one of her successors, Friedrich Merz, the current chancellor, who's also from her political family, from the conservative CDU, he says in many ways Germany didn't make it. So is it a glass half full, half empty? And she also admitted there that it helped the rise of the far-right AfD party. In fact, it was in the low single digits just before 2015 in September, and I was in Hungary at Keleti station where many thousands of people then suddenly hopped onto buses when she gave the green light that the borders wouldn't be closed. And Friedrich Merz says we didn't really make it. That's why we saw a real turnaround on that policy. In fact, we already saw one just after 2015 that the asylum laws were tightened here in Germany. And that's why now people are being turned away at the border under this now also conservative government, although that is being contested in the court, and we've already seen this government lose a case.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I mean, this government has taken a completely different decision, closing borders, changing policies. What does that say about the future? What does that mean for Germany?
Well, first of all, I want to say that if you walk into a shop today, if you go to a hospital, it's actually very unlikely you'll walk into a hospital where there's not at least one Syrian doctor these days. Thousands helped keep the German system running, and they are badly needed. And also Friedrich Merz, who was one of the key critics of this open arms policy as it became known, he himself wants skilled labour to come into the country. So whenever he stresses, we don't want so much uncontrolled migration anymore, he also says we want a fast track for skilled labour. And we've seen from the data that the employment amongst those people who came is comparable to the employment amongst Germans generally. So this can be seen as something that Germany also needed. At the same time, it is still at the center of very heated debates, and it is still the one issue where the far-right AfD, particularly in the East, manages to become the strongest party in some regions. And that's very important as we see elections coming up next year at the regional level.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to see what happens here. It's not just happening in Germany, it's happening across Europe and really globally. All right, Michaela, Küfner, we have to leave it there. Thank you very much.